Hello everyone, welcome back to my next Graphic 45 Brand Ambassador project. My assignment this month was to take part in their Facebook monthly challenge, and the theme this time is G45 gift. So a gift you can give or a gift holder, and I love making little boxes, so I decided to make a little treat box. When I've done demo days in the past, I've often had little treats on the table for people to take away with them. I've done little cracker boxes, things which are on my channel already, and I just make a big box full and people have been able to take them away as a little memory of the day. So I've decided to take an idea I've done in the past, which was a big bauble shape, which was a Christmassy type one, and it held quite a large chocolate, and so I've made it mini. So this is my mini squat box. So it's like the bauble box, but a squat version. And when you open it up then, you can fit in a little bag of treats on the inside, or some little ball ones, or whatever you want, as long as it fits, of course. So I'm utilising some patterns and solids for this one, and I've gone for the spring is in the air ones. So they're quite nice, bright colours, but can be used for any occasion really. And you could use the main collection, but I'm trying to keep that for an album. But if you do, there are ways you can use these. It does utilise a piece of 12 by 12. You get 2 out of a sheet. But what you want to look for is a plainish one for the base and then a patterned one for the decoration. So that would work okay, because that's quite plain and non-directional, and then you could cut your square panels to go on from here. But we are utilising virtually every piece of the paper, so our decoration is coming out from the waste. So this would be a nice one because you've got a plain green and then the flowers. I did consider using this one because I love that page, but then I thought, when I start cutting my inch squares for the decoration, I might just end up like chopping the rabbit's head off. So that's why I then decided, let's try the patterns and solids. So these are great because you get a solid piece, which I'm going to use it for the base, and on the flip side I'll have a pattern. So for this one I'm going to go for this pink one, so you can see the pink and the pattern is on the other side. I also thought this would be great for Halloween as well. So I did have a little practice run, and I used my Charmed one, which is a past collection. But you can see it also looks rather nice. But I didn't do the triangles on this one. And once I'd done it, I thought, ooh, it needs a bit more. So on this one, I'll also show you how to decorate the inside triangles as well. But if you want to be even more paper savvy, my practice run, or my mock-up when I was trying to work out the sizings, I actually used cardstock. So you could make it out of cardstock and then just decorate with your patterned papers, because you only need 1 inch squares to make it. So that would make it even more economical for you. So let's have a little look at how we're going to cut it. As you may notice, this isn't a 12 by 12. This is a 12 by 6 piece. I've already cut and started one using the other half, which is why I've only got the half to go. So I'm going to start off by, let's zoom out a little bit if I can. There we go. Putting the 6 piece along the top, and I'm going to cut it at 5 inches. That's going to allow me a 1 inch strip this side, which I'm going to be utilising. Turning it around, I'm going to cut a 1 inch strip off the end. So I'm going to use that for my decorations as well. And then I'm just going to cut 1/2 inch off. So this piece is going to end up being 10.5 inches. So there we go. So that's all the waste we've got from this project. So now I've ended up with my 5 by 10 inch piece. I'm going to put that aside, and funny enough, we're going to start with the decorations. So this is the little strip we had, and I'm going to cut this into 1 inch squares. So it's already at 1 inch wide. And I'm going to cut them down and down at 1 inch. There we go. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already. I want 8 to go around the main pieces, and I've got 2 then on the inside as well. So I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I've also, an optional, you can have 2 half-inch ones, so 1 inch by half an inch for the top. I think it just finishes it off nicely there. So just cut 2 more at half an inch each. And you're left then with this strip. And from this strip, we are going to get those triangle pieces as well. Now I'm going to use my scoreboard, but you could use a ruler for this bit. And I'm going to place it in my scoreboard. Actually, I'm going to flip it over to the blank side. It might be easier for you to see. So it's a 6-inch strip, and I'm going to mark just a little notch at every 1 inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to mark at every half an inch. So half, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, and 5.5. So the measurements are nice and easy for this one again. And that's all I'm going to do now. So I've got the edge of my paper. I got my half inch. I'm just going to take my scissors and cut. So this is the waist piece, but nothing now is wasted until I get to the end. I'm going to take that 1 inch and cut up to that first half inch. And that's given me the triangle which will fit inside my bauble. And I'm just going to keep going, cutting diagonally from score line, or score mark, sorry, not score line, to score line. A score mark, I'm saying it again. Until we get 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. In fact, I could have got an extra square out of that. Didn't need it as long as I thought. Just have one spare one just in case. And then I can cut this, and I can put this piece down on the bottom. I have got an extra one, so let's have a look. Let me just grab some tape just to hold it down in place. And cut. So let's not waste that little piece. Really actually maximizing everything now today, aren't we? Okay. Now these, if I stuck these onto my pink, would sort of blend in. As you can see in my practice run, let's put the clip back on so you can see what it actually looks like. They stand out a bit more. That's because I've taken some distress ink and I've gone quite heavy-handed on every edge. On the triangles, on those half-inch pieces, and on all those squares. So on the triangles, you'll start to think which way's the way up, but the inch is just a little bit longer. That way you'll be able to work out which way up it goes. And just to save some time, that's why this all came from the one 12 by 12. I'll be able to make my second one with those. But just to speed things up, I've already inked those pieces. So I'll be able to use the second piece now to make another one later on. So let me put my decoration aside for now. And let's start to make the box. So I'm bringing in my scoreboard and my scoring tool. I have got the measurements written down here. So as you can see, it's a 5 by 10.5 piece. And we've taken the decorations out of it as well, out of my 6 by 12 piece. So we're going to score it every 1 1/4 inches. So let's have a look. So it's 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4, 5, 6 1/4, 7 1/2, 8 3/4, and 10 inches. Okay, so let's have a look again. So at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4, 5, 6 1/4, 7 1/2, 8 3/4, and 10 inch, leaving me these 2 tabs at the end. And then just rotate it around. And again, it's every 1 1/4 inches. So 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4. So we've just made a grid of 8 squares across, 4 squares down. Now on every other square, I'm now going to score it down the center. So in the middle of 1 1/4 and 2 1/2 is 1 7/8. So that's just 2 inches, go back 1 channel. And I'm going to score down to that score line and stop. Now I'm going to go to 4 3/8. So 4, 1, 2, 3. Because each of these channels is an 1/8. So 4 and 1, 2, 3/8. 6 7/8. So go to 7, go back 1. And score. And then 9 3/8. So here's 9, 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to flip it over. So I've still got the 1/2 inch tab off to the right. So I'm working on the back this time. So again, 1 7/8, 4 3/8, 1, 2, 3. I'm not going all the way down yet. I'll show you why now. 6 7/8, and 9 1, 2, 3/8. So I've made a mark. I'm going to turn over. I just find it easier then to work on the plain side and work my way up those channels. I've got a little indent here, which I can follow. I know where the channel is, and up. There we go. So just let's bring it on. So we've got 8 squares going across, and every other one has been split in half. So we are going to now put this aside, and I'm just going to grab a cushioned mat. I'm being very crafty here, and I'm just using my dining place mat here. I just wanted something a little bit spongy but still quite firm, because what I'm going to do, where we've got this half coming down to the score line, where they meet here, I'm going to place my scoring tool and bring it out to the bottom of this square. So we've got a square here, we're just coming down to the bottom of this square. And whilst my paper and ruler in this orientation, I'm going to come to this one and work my way down to the score line. I'll bring it so you can see. Let's have a look. So you've got your square here, which has been cut in half. That halfway line is just a guide for me to know where the halfway point is, and I'm coming down to the corner here. And then I'm starting in this cross here, the corner here, and coming down to the score line. And as I said, whilst I'm doing that, I'm going in this direction, I have a tendency of just going across every single one of these in this orientation. And here. Then turning it around, we're going to go in the opposite direction to finish off as a diamond. So you see, in the end, you will have 4 score lines making this diamond. So from the cross down to the scoreline mark. From the scoreline mark down towards the cross. Scoreline. Scoreline. And just a couple more. I will be done. Okay. So there we have it. We now have 4 diamonds there. I wiggle it so hopefully the camera will pick it up. So every one of these squares which we've cut in half or scored in half, I'm going to cut it away. So this square we don't actually need. So I'm going to cut it out. We're going to cut up each of these score lines. And this tab we don't need, so I'm just going to cut straight across that one. There we go. So each of those ones, let's get rid of them. We don't need those ones with the score line. And again, on the other side, so this end one, I can cut straight across and chop off. And now each of the ones with those half, and this one, and cut them out then. There we go. So I still got my tab on the end, off to the right. Just keep it off to the right so it's not part of my measurements. Okay, so we've got rid of every other. Now, an optional extra that I didn't do on my other bauble is this little tab on top. So to do that, I'm just going to bring in my scoring tool. Let's turn it on the back so I got the flat bit on the top. So my 1/2 inch tab is down the bottom. So 1 1/4, halfway from 1 1/4. So half of 1 is half, 1 more, so it's 5/8. So I'm going to come 5/8. I'm going to fold the second one out of my way and just carry on down that channel. So I'm doing, when I flip it over, the first and the third, I've just scored at the halfway mark. And then let's just take my corner punch. So I'm using my medium this time. My medium corner punch, which is like a 7mm one. I'm just going to corner around those 2. You can have yours flat if you want, but I think it just adds takes a couple of seconds and adds a bit to it. Okay, so that is everything scored apart from my tabs. So I'm going to place some tape in that 1/2 inch tab at the end. And I'm just going to miter off the top and the bottom. But that's going to be quite awkward because you want this middle bit to bend. So I'm just going to cut a little V towards that score line as well. So I'm cutting a bit out of the top and bottom one. Now we can fold these back and we can start burnishing it. Burnish each of these lines. see starting to come towards each other now. There we go. And then, so this is the proper way. The middle, you want to make into a mountain. And fold them. And each of these smaller tabs is also a mountain. So let's fold them. And I'm going to fold these 4 in as well. And then the 2 I had the score lines, we're going to fold them back up. You'll understand which way to do it. As soon as you start putting it together, you'll know which way those need to go. Okay. So there you go. That's all those folded. The only thing we need to do now is fold our diamonds. Now this is the side showing out. So each of these diamonds is now going to be folded. Each of the lines of the diamond, will be a valley. So I'm just getting my fingers in and I'm just bringing the paper up to make it go into a valley. So bring it up and bring it up. And I'm going to carry on going. In a straight line, I tend to find is easier. Just keep going that way, that way, that way. And now this way, this way, this way, and this way. And there's one more left to do, which is this direction, these ones. Okay, so all those diamond ones are going down now into valley folds, as you can see. It's working all the way around to our tab. So this is the back now. Let's bring it forward. So this is the front side showing now. Let's remove that tape. And if I bring this in, it'll meet halfway. There we go. So those 2 with the extra half, that's the top. So we're going to work on the bottom first. And we're going to bring these in opposite pairs. So I'm going to fold them backwards. So this one, I'm going to use double-sided tape. You can use glue if you want, but the tape will hold it in place straight away for me, which is why I'm going for the tape. So I've got tape on this right-hand side one, nothing on this one. So I'm going to fold this one in and bring this towards it and place it on top. Like so. And now I'm going to cover this one. And because we've folded all those score lines, as I bring this one in now, you'll see these 2 will start to buckle inwards, which is what we want, because that's what's creating that bauble shape there. And this one here as well. So I could put a bit of glue on top if I wanted, but this tape is nice, strong tape. So as I bring it in, it's folding in on itself, and actually even felt it pop into place there. There we go. So that's the bottom, nice sturdy now, because it's got 4 layers. And this is then the top. So the top won't need anything like so, because what's going to happen is we're going to bring them in, and these 2 on top will come together. And for today, I'm using these fold back clips, so I can just have a clip. You could, of course, punch a hole and tie some ribbon in if you wanted to go that way. I'm not a very good ribbon tire, which is why I went for a clip. And that is the box then, all made. And it's just a case then of using those bits we started off with to decorate. So let me just take that off to help me do this. So I just got some nice strong glue, and we've got our 1-inch squares. There's a bit too much glue there. So these 1-inch squares now are just going to go on each of these squares on the outside. So the good thing about this Patterns and Solid is, because we've made these 1-inch squares, they're quite small, the pattern is not a directional pattern, so I can just glue them on nice and quickly. I don't have to think about, oh, which way does this go? With the charmed one, I had moons, so I had to think which way to go, which is not too bad with the squares, but when it comes to the triangles, it was a bit more of a job. So non-directional patterns are your friend for this one. So there we go. And the bottom. I love this spring is in the air. Patterns and Solids are just lovely. The reverse side, the pattern side then, is just a nice little hint of pattern with that white. Or on the blue one, it had like a navy pattern on a light blue surface. If I grab it in. So it added just enough detail, so it looks quite sophisticated. Let's have a look. How are we doing? Have we got 8? I haven't been counting. 2, 4, 6, 8. Good. And then we had a couple more, which I put to bulk out and strengthen these 2 flaps. And it also made it a little bit thicker, so they held together a bit more. Here it is. And if I did have a spare one, didn't I? I did again. I could put on the base if I wanted to, or you've just got a spare in case you make a mistake, which in my case is quite often. And then those 2 little 1/2-inch ones, I put them on this. So I went right up to the central score line, so I still had it even that way, because when it's closed, those 2 sort of meet up. So let's attach. So if we, from above, you can see they come together like that. And then, so all I've got left now are the triangles. So I can sort of see which way it's going. Make sure I get glue to the tips. And they go inside there. Of course, if you find it easier to decorate before assembling, go for it. But for some reason, I like decorating it afterwards. And you could get away with just doing the 4 top ones if you wanted. But you've got enough to do all 8 triangles, so why not? And there. And then we've just got those 4 bottom ones. I've got way more triangles than I need. So that's going to go in there. A couple more and we'll be done. All glue and ink today. And the spare triangles can be put away. At least I can start doing the next one then. I've got bits ready to go. And there we go. Let's get it in there. Excellent. So now we've got my box decorated on all 4 sides. You just take the 2 we've decorated, 2 full squares, bring in the other two and it tends to just lock itself into place. As I said, you could add a magnet, you could do some holes in here and add some ribbon, or the lazy way, my way, is just a clip. So hopefully that would encourage you maybe to have a little go if you've into treat boxes, if you've never tried one before. As I said, half a sheet of your 12 by 12 is all you need. Patterns and solids work lovely, perfect for trick-or-treaters. Hip hip hooray would make lovely birthday treats, or just some general sophisticated looking ones using our Spring is in the Air. So, so I said, this is what I used, the patterns are solids, so I can make some nice green ones now, some dark navy, and they'd all just match. And as I showed you before, it just opens up and you can put in a little bag of sweets or anything nice and small. So thank you for watching my squat box tutorial, and hopefully it's given you some inspiration on what to do if you've got a couple of sheets left over from another project, and just to make something. If you're making an album for someone and you've got a sheet left over, give them a little gift with the album as well. And remember, if you're also going to take part in the G45 challenge, it could be any gift idea you want, make sure you share it on their Facebook group as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.